Hello guys, NautoAce here, and this is going to be a follow-up on my thoughts on the Nintendo Direct Mini Partners Showcase Episode 2. So the gist of that one is, they showed it, there was some sort of shadow drop, but they kind of announced it on Twitter like the same day because you're gonna guess why. And as expected, when I saw that subtitle, Partner Showcase, the first thing that pops in my head is, oh boy, people are gonna be pissed, people are gonna be mad. I'm like, yeah, we'll just see. And look and behold, I'm not surprised, everybody's not surprised. The ratio from the likes and dislikes on YouTube are close. So here's the deal about why sort of that's a significant thing. When the likes is more and then there's hardly any dislike, then it kind of tell you people are positive, they're supporting that video. When there's a lot of dislike, then you know the video means it's bad. Yeah, there are going to be some trolls on either side, but to some extent, most people are legit. So when it comes to this Nintendo Direct, and when you see something like that, yeah, it tells something that people want to show their frustration that, hey, this is not okay. What are you guys doing? Please give us what we want. Again, it is a little bit controversial. There's a lot of things happening, like I said, in real life. Of course, the pandemic, and I do have to always emphasize that, but a lot of time some people to some extent, maybe not all, kind of trying to downplay it to some extent because maybe frustration. I don't know. I can't speak for them. But again, whatever, that's life. So, the follow-up on this one is I want to explain more about what's happening with Nintendo, and should the fans or the dedicated Nintendo fans be okay being like this? Like, do they represent the whole Nintendo community? Of course not. But again, you know, the common thing in social media is the loudest is always people gonna see, and when those loudest people make themselves well known, then the majority of people might say, oh, this is all about what Nintendo community is, or the fans are. You know, it is gonna suck, but sometimes it is what it is. And like I said before, one or two very rogue fan from the community can actually, believe it or not, ruin the whole big shebang of the community. Yeah, it's kind of scary, but sometimes, unless you have good logistic, yeah, that's gonna be sort of a problem. And right now, a lot of this minority Nintendo fans who are very frustrated. I mean, is it a minority? To some extent, maybe. But to some extent, they're the loudest, and that's what the general consumers see. And then they might think, oh, this is what Nintendo is all about. Again, maybe, maybe not. So, before I continue, here's the deal. For me personally, what do I think about the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase? Like I said in that video, I think it is what it is. It's not good, but it's not bad. At least you have something for the Switch. Granted, not everyone's gonna like what the game they showed, okay? Kingdom Hearts, the rhythm game, I don't think people like rhythm game. Taiko no Taijutsu, again, not people probably gonna like that. Final Fantasy Collection, the Saga Legend for the Switch, again, I like it, but not everyone's cup of tea. World of Tanks, again, people probably don't know what that is and don't care. I mean, you gotta see, there is something for someone, but to some extent, yeah, there is gonna be someone when, well, that's not for me. Well, this is a waste of my time. I don't want to watch this. I just want my quote-unquote Nintendo game. Again, it is what it is. It's within the right to whatever they want for Nintendo. So before I continue, I want to show again why, like I said, for me personally, I have no problem what they showed. And this is why. The thing for me why I'm not so frustrated with Nintendo as of right now, and yes, I do understand why some Nintendo fans are very frustrated, especially if you're a dedicated Nintendo fan or you only have Nintendo console as your primary. For me, why am I not so mad? Well, right now you're seeing this, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. However, this is why for me it's like, when I see Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase, I'm like, okay, it is what it is. And this is why. Yes, I have original Xbox One, the very VCR generation, a PS4 Pro, PS3, yes, I still play my PS3. Backlog, of course, Switch. And not only that, yes folks, Steam. Yes, I have a high-end powered PC that can play most of this game. You kind of see why, for me personally, why I'm not so frustrated. Yes, I'm an old fogey. Yes, I make a living. Yes, to some extent I can afford this, but let's just say sometimes I get good deals. So there you go. So for me, that's the reason why when I see like anything from Nintendo as of right now, I'm not really that frustrated. And yes, I also have a Wii U and an Xbox 360. You remember the meme Wii 360 during the HD era? Remember that? Well, yeah. And yes, you're not seeing things. That is also Steam Link. I tried it. I don't know how to make it work. And yes, if you're listening to the background, I am listening to Dreamcastguy about the Nintendo Mini Partner Showcase. Yeah, why not? And yes, like I said, I am an old fogey. That means I can make a living. I make money to some extent. I buy my own stuff. And also, I'm also in tune to the internet finding good deals. So let's just say some of this are either cheap or I got it for free or Humble Bundle. Thanks, Humble Bundle. So that's the reason why you kind of see me showing you my backlog to some extent. Yes, I can afford to some extent multiple consoles. Not everyone can do that. I understand that. Not everyone like an Xbox One or a PS4, or they don't like playing games on PC because it's more convoluted, which is, to some extent, it is true. So they rather just have one system. They grew up with Nintendo, so they want to solely play all their games on a Nintendo console. But unfortunately, ever since with the N64, it kind of showed what happened, the lack of third-party game. The Wii went to a different approach with the Blue Ocean strategy. That did not work in the long run. The Wii U trying to bring back the hardcore did not work. Most people who bought the Wii U bought it as a secondary console. To a point, even Iwata admitted that. He didn't like it, but he admitted it, and that's what's happening. And now with the Switch, they're getting more games. They are getting more games, third-party games. Yeah, there are still some games that's not on the Switch, but to some extent, one or two things is happening. One, maybe the company don't believe in the Switch, which is sad. Two, is some of the games technically can't be run on the Switch. Final Fantasy 15 couldn't run the Luminous engine. Kingdom Hearts 3, the reason some people say that it wasn't on the Switch, it couldn't run it. They tried it. Unreal Engine 4 somehow doesn't work on the Switch, from what I heard. Again, who knows? In the case with Fall Guys, I have no idea why it's only on Steam and PS4, but again, it is what it is. Resident Evil 7 was only streaming in Japan. Same goes with Phantasy Star Online 2. Again, it's only streaming rather than putting like an app on the system. Again, I don't know because it's not in America. So I kind of understand where they're coming from and why all this frustration. It's like, yeah, you got those third-party games, but again, to some extent, it's not enough. And of course, ever since the pandemic started in March, you kind of see the slow pace of the first-party games. Let's see, March was Animal Crossing New Horizon, and then at May was Xenoblade Chronicles Remastered, and then on June, 51 Clubhouse game, which is good for a good casual game, and then in July, Paper Mario the Origami King, and then where's August? Nothing. October, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, and like I said before, apparently, according to Emily Rodgers, an insider, she said that supposedly that this game was meant to be a spring-summer release, but due to, of course, like I said, the pandemic kind of screw everything out. So yeah, that is also people need to keep in mind. I know some people were downplaying it, but again, I hate to say it, Dreamcast even said the same thing, is that one, in their annual shareholder meeting, one of the higher-ups basically admit that some of the development did impact because of the pandemic. That's why it's slow. Why is it so long for Min Mint to be released from Violet? same deal. They were working at home, and sadly, the update wasn't even 100% quality. There were some glitches. Min doing the T-pose for random reason, and then Springman, basically his background, the design, someone messed it up. Oopsie. I mean, it's just a JPEG, so it's not that hard. And then, of course, now they have a new update with small battlefield, but guess what happened? Apparently, if you do some weird stuff with the game crashes for whatsoever reason. Again, I mean, Nintendo games are supposed to be near perfect when it comes to update, but again, because the reason is they had to stay home and they're doing the best they can. And that's another thing I'm going to say, and I said that before in my previous video, is that Nintendo is an old company, an old Japanese company. They follow the tradition, they follow their honor, their culture when it comes to working. It is not the same as in the US. Yes, warning a bit, it is going to be a little bit political, but hear me out. In Japan, it's always for them, they respect their business to some extent, but again, it's a different story there, is that when you work for someone, you like that place and you show respect because they give you a chance. You work there, you show your fullest 100%, and then you go home, and then again, but you enjoy doing it. Again, Japanese culture there. Like, their always belief is that a workplace is always a special facility where you can show your full potential working to whatever it is. Of course, when the pandemic came, guess what happened? They were forced to work home, and to some extent, most of them, and again, maybe some of them are OG, they don't know how to do it. They don't understand the situation. How can I work on this game if I don't have my full material, my full resource? It's on the place. It's in my workplace, but I can't go there because, again, #stay home. And then, of course, Nintendo is very secretive as of ever since the N64 that there have been a lot of rumors. I mean, credit to 8-Bit Eric, said they don't want to work at home because it might be leaks. People might see it because, remember, the place is sort of a sacred that leak doesn't come out. There you go. I mean, again, like Dreamcastguy and a lot of people said that possibly that as of right now, Nintendo, they're just putting all their game on hiatus, and they're probably going to continue all of this on January 2021, and hopefully by then the pandemic is going to slow down. But again, who knows? Yeah, it sucks. Again, all I'm saying is the key thing here, I know people are going to hate it, but patient. Be patient. This is something new for Nintendo. Yes, it sucks. Yes, they're OG, but what can you do? And I said it before also with the Wii U. Why is it after Lego City, what happened? How come there was no Nintendo game until June, and then the next one was like somewhere September or October, I can't even remember, they admitted they had a drought because they did not realize developing in games from SD to HD was very difficult. They needed more time. They were not prepared. That was a problem. And I said it before, the other company, prior with the PS3 and 360 release, they were preparing. They were starting to understand. That's why the first games were like, yeah, it is what it is. But they learned in the long run because they were learning this while they're still making games for the PS2 and the original Xbox. With Nintendo, yeah, they were just very late in the party, and they're like, well, you screwed up. We didn't know about it. And now working at home situation is not something that Nintendo understand. I mean, I'm sorry to say. I mean, probably Sony knows how to do it now. Maybe Microsoft also knows. A lot of company probably knows how to work at home now. They're probably understanding. But for Nintendo, most of the people who run the place are a bunch of OGs. They're probably lost. They don't understand how this thing works, to a point that they can't release games. Again, I don't know what to say. So I do understand the frustration if you're a Switch owner or your dedication to Nintendo, but it's also a business. I mean, you gotta understand that yeah, if it wasn't for the fans, there wouldn't be Nintendo. They wouldn't make any money. Yup. But at the same time, it's a business. They're doing whatever they can with the limited resource they have. Yeah, it sucks. But, I mean, I don't know what you guys want. I mean, they're showing games. I know maybe some of them are not for you. But, like, if you want only first-party game, then you're kind of telling me that the reason you bought a Switch is just to play Nintendo games. I mean, I can understand with the Wii U, and I know to some extent a lot of people hate that. That's like sort of a taboo topic to basically say that, oh, you only buy Nintendo console just to play Nintendo games, because that's always been their stigmata in the past. The Switch is supposed to break that, but at the same time, I'm seeing frustration mostly on the internet. If you got a problem, have a problem with Nintendo, because they're the one that's probably messing with your expectation. That's really my follow-up on it, like my thoughts about it. I mean, it is unfortunate as a Nintendo fan, yes, I understand, but for me personally, I have no problem what they showed. They're gonna show more. Be patient. If you're a person who don't have a lot of games, you don't really buy cheap games, you don't have a big backlog, you're awesome, because backlogs can be dangerous, just saying. But the bottom line is that you don't have enough games to play on your Switch. I understand, but again, it's Nintendo. This is something new for them. This is something new to everyone, even myself. Hashtag stay home. People have to deal with the new situation until this thing ends. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, that's my follow-up on the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase. Sort of frustration. I get the frustration, but like I said, two key points about as of right now until 2021. One, always keep your expectation low. Don't set yourself high. Don't say, oh my gosh, the Nintendo Direct, I'm so happy. What the heck is this shit? Keep it low as of right now because of the situation. Second, be patient. Try to be patient on the situation. I'm not a Nintendo apologist. Patient is the key there. So those are my thoughts, the follow-up. So with that, I'll see you guys later.